fascinated, and reflect upon and write a journal on what contribute justice means. Okay, so let's see if I can go on to here. Start from okay. Let me just find my PowerPoint presentation on this computer. Okay. Sorry guys, give me a second. Okay, I gotta go talk to the angel. 1 second. I'm not familiar with this one here. So, on the other one, it's usually view it, and then there's notes. Like presenter's view. I don't know where it's gone here. So be on the slide.
Okay, so there are your notes.
Yeah, but I just want them to see the slides.
Okay.
When it says present.
Yeah.
And there should be a little box here now. It's not there. Eh?
No, with this one doesn't have PowerPoint. It has Open Office Impress, which is sometimes less than impressive.
Okay. If I use my, I still wouldn't be used if I use my. It's okay. Can you go back to the one you had before, just a presentation?
Yeah.
So it doesn't show notes at all.
No, but what we could do
That's
is...
okay. I'll have to do it without notes. I'll be okay.
So that's what they see?
That'll be fine.
Okay. So, and then here.
That'll be okay then. I want to take away those notes.
You want to take them away? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to present this then.
Perfect. Okay.
So that's what they see.
Okay, so we're going to try this. Let's go back up to, where are we here? Oh, I have to use the other one. Okay, so here we go. So different kinds of justice. Now this is going to help you tremendously with your CPT because it's going to give you more ideas that you can use for the section on justice. So justice is first and foremost a virtue that perfects the will. It is the constant will to render to another that which is due to them. Okay, and we've talked about this way back from our first lesson on Socrates to Aristotle to Kant to Levinas to Aquinas to Jesus. Okay, it's a virtue. And part of learning to be a moral person is to be a virtuous person, so to be just. Okay, this is probably the most important slide I'm going to show you. This puts them all together. This adds to what we learned in Aristotle. I wish that the Aristotle section had a more developed idea of justice, but we're going to make up for it right now. So this one here, think of the top social whole as all of us, the whole social people. We live according to what's called a social contract. So all the people here at the top. At the bottom is an individual person, A, and B is another individual person, B. So think of A as you and B as the other person. So the first type of justice we're going to look at is commutative justice, and that has to do with the relationships between you and others. This is a one-to-one relationship. The second one we're going to look at is what's called legal justice, and that is your relationship and expectations and requirements, responsibilities to the social whole, all the people together. So you versus everybody. The third type of justice we're going to look at is called distributive justice. What can the whole of society, all the people together in their power as a community, distribute back to the individual? Now, even though my arrows point one individual to the social whole, it's also the second individual to the social whole. So the arrow can go there as well, from B to C. It's not just A to C, but B to C and anybody else that's in the relationships here. And similarly, distributed justice is not simply C to B, but also C to A. So those are three kinds of justice we're going to look at today and try to develop an understanding of what they are. And to answer Kevin's question, this is essentially the developed explanation of what Jesus means when he says, blessed are those who are just. Just between each other, from A to B, just between our relationship with yourself and the society as a whole. And thirdly, the relationship between the whole of the community and each individual person. So there's three parts to justice. Okay. So Moses is a just and righteous person. Let's see if I can get this going. Let me go ask Ms. Buckley.
And it's,
So I have it here.
so this is a video?
It's a PowerPoint. Yeah, this is a video on YouTube.
Okay,
So I do it from there or from here?
from here, I
Okay.
think. So let's see if they can hear everything. So far, no. Okay, so
Try to skip.
that's okay. We'll skip the ads, but first we have to get the volume working anyway. So,
Okay.
so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stop presenting,
Okay.
and then I'm going to present a Chrome tab, and I'm going to choose this one.
Allow me to free myself from myself. So let me show it to you right now, because this will transform your life, provided you take action on this, and you'll see how powerful this is. My name's Tim Ham.
There we go. Yes.
Pharaoh, it's me. I was wondering if after all these years the Jews you'd free. It's all over, everything. You see, it's time for us to leave you. I hope there's no hard feelings.
Hello? I can't hear you. I think the river needs some cleaning. It's turning red and we're thirsty. What's with all these frogs in my streets? Locusts flying, I've got boils, and it's hail so freaky.
There's not much difference between us, except our million gods. Moses on our kettles died. We must have scratched 1,000 times.
I tell you, I'm sorry for everything that I've done.
Just stop these bootlegs and don't mention the firstborn.
Wish we could turn back time to the good old days when we ruled the Jews. Now we're slaves, but now we're stressed out. Wish we could turn back time to the good old days before we met this dude. Now our sheep are dead, we're stressed
I don't
out.
blame pretend no one's gonna get away. I hope you brought your swimming trunks, cause you'll need them for the day. Gonna take a gold and silver, eat some manta and be free. Then maybe we'll eat lots of mana. Yo! No time for rise, bread of freedom is his name. Leave behind the love, the ego, and time no has no rain. Fermentation is a process, only happens certain ways. Taste your freedom, now live like a soul. Don't. My God, he don't like you and he loves everyone. And I think it's time for you to admit you're wrong. Now we all live for Israel, cause with God we cannot fail. And now we know that he's the one that's in control.
Well, I just can't believe we let them go. Oh, maybe we can catch them at the sea. Don't be afraid, let's go and follow them.
I told you you should have listened to me. Hello from the other side. Free at last in the Sinai. To go out and get the Torah. A Jewish nation is born. Have a heart, be sober. May you feel freedom down to your core.
So I can turn this off now. Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Buckley. Okay, we're back on here now. So I thought that was just a nice way of introducing the slide that Moses is a just and righteous person. With the power of a staff, he liberated the Jewish people from bondage and slavery. He was called by God to free his people. And then he was called to God on Mount Sinai and given the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments are the basis of what we consider to be a moral life. And we've talked a lot about them in the Sermon on the Mount, especially in Thou shalt not kill. Okay, so let's see the next one. Rather than have a contract or a social contract, we believe we live with a covenant. And according to Scripture, a just and righteous person is first in right relationship with God, and second in right relationship with other human beings. So the whole purpose of our lives, according to the religious viewpoint that we'll be looking at St. Robert's Catholic High School, is that the covenant we have is first and foremost with God. So we love God with all our heart and all our soul and all our strength. And the second covenant with the second hand is we reach out to our neighbor and we love our neighbor as ourselves. And only when we love God with all our heart and love our neighbor with all our heart can we truly love ourselves, because then we are authentically being whom God created us to be, a loving person. Remember that love was placed within us to be shared with others, with God, to love God, and with others, to love others as well. When you don't share your love and you turn love inside of you, you end up becoming vain, proud, arrogant, and ultimately, in extreme form, narcissistic. Ooh. Sorry, I just realized that I wasn't presenting. let's see. Sorry about that. Uh, Sorry, guys. Let me just get my slide presentation going again. I'm not sure what's happened to it.
Oh, I know what's happened to it.
It's rebooted.
Yeah, so when we played the video,
Yeah.
we
Oh,
oh, there it is.
there. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you very much. Okay. So let's see. Sorry about that. So that's a covenant relation. So we saw Moses. So to be in a covenant relation, to be just with others, is to love first and foremost God with all your heart and all your soul and all your strength. And secondly, to love your neighbor as yourself. Okay? The next one. Jesus says this is what makes people just and righteous. In the new law of Christ, justice means extending God's compassion, forgiveness, and mercy to all people, even when that means sacrificing one's own comfort and material wealth. Okay? Justice is a cardinal virtue. As a cardinal virtue, justice is the virtue concerned with the rights and duties within relationships and societies. Justice guides us in giving both God and neighbor what is their due and in working for the common good. And we've talked a lot about common good, that whatever we do must be for the good of all people, not some people only. So any laws we create must be respectful of all people and usually apply to all people. Justice takes into account the needs of others as much as our own needs. Justice is about more than simple fairness. It asks us to bring God's compassionate and merciful love to those who are most in need. We call that a preferential option for the poor. We'll be talking about that when we look at social justice. What Jesus wants us to do is to serve as his hands, his feet, his eyes, and his ears in this world. Okay? Our true identity, image bearers representing God's character and mission on earth. We are God's eyes and ears, his hands and feet, and his voice in the world. These are warriors, and as his representatives, we need to see the love what he loves, grieve what he hates, and join his cause. We cannot all do great things, but we can all do small things with great love. We are a strong help in bringing God's kingdom of apolomatics. I'm not sure what that is. I should have got rid of that. Sorry. God's kingdom on earth. Okay? So the first type of justice, community justice, is the fairness that should exist when exchanging goods and services among individual institutions. It requires that both parties, you and the other person, receive exactly what they agreed to. In this way, the human dignity of everyone involved in the exchange is protected. It is the most fundamental form of justice in societies. Without it, all other forms of justice are impossible. So we have to, each one of us, respect each other. We have to respect each other's freedoms. We have to respect each other's rights, each other's lives, each other's health, each other's opportunity to succeed, to make their own choices. Now, think of one person on an island by yourself. I wish I could draw this for you on a whiteboard. But if you were on yourself, then freedom will be defined as what I call your W5H. You can do what you want. You can do where you want to. You can do when you want to. why you want to, with whom you want to, obviously by yourself, and then how you want to do it. So if you want to, and this is going to be a bit crude, this is what my professor used. If you want to fart, you can fart anywhere you want, and no one's going to bother you. If you want to sing, you can sing anytime you want. If you want to sleep, no one's going to bother you, other than perhaps maybe some nature, birds, etc. But basically, you're free to follow all W5H possibilities. Now, when you include a second person on this island, your exercise of your freedoms are going to conflict with someone else's freedoms. So if you decide, because you're free in an absolute sense, that you want to sing, you're free to sing on the island. The only problem is your freedom to sing will affect another person's freedom to sleep. So if the second person wants to sleep and you start singing out loud, then your exercise or your freedom to express yourself in song interferes with the other person's freedom to rest. And so there's going to be a conflict between the two of you. Similarly, if you have a party at home, you have to end your party at 11 o'clock because people have to sleep after that. So what happens is there's a tension created between you and the other person. And that tension will become very, very problematic unless you resolve it. And it might lead to conflict. It might lead to violence. It might lead to ostracization, where you go on either side of the island and don't talk to each other anymore, unless you can reconcile them. So you solve the tension by coming up with an agreement, a contract. We call this a social contract between the two people. So one person will agree to sing up to 11 o'clock and suppress that freedom and not sing after 11 o'clock to allow somebody else to sleep at 11 o'clock. So it's agreed that after 11 o'clock, there should not be much noise, should not be singing, so that the other person can sleep, and so can the first person. So you resolve that with a social contract agreement. So one person agrees, I will not kill you, I'll let you live if you don't kill me and let me live. So you agree that in order to respect each other and to be fair to each other, you allow them to live. And therefore, life becomes a value that you share in common, and you agree not to use any type of physical violence that will take away a person's life. Okay? So that's what we call social contract. So this is commutative justice. Second kind of justice is legal justice, and this is our relationship to the community as a whole, to society, to everybody else. And this is usually recognized if you break a law, and it's a criminal law. It's, for example, if I did something terrible, I'd be brought to court, and the court case would be R versus Cara. R representing Regina as the head of state, therefore the queen representing all of the community versus me as an individual. So if I were to kill someone, I'd be charged with murder, have a murder trial, and it'd be the whole judging me. So legal justice is concerned with the responsibilities that individuals have to society. It is called legal justice because these responsibilities are usually spelled out in laws or other legal documents. Our country and community organizations cannot fulfill their responsibility unless we fulfill our obligations to society. At St. Rob's, we have a code of conduct. It's found in your agenda. I don't know if you receive agendas this year. And you can see all the rules that are stipulated there. So I always tell a story of when I was at McGivney teaching religion there. There was a student who got into a lot of trouble. And the vice principal was out to get him. Was waiting for the next opportunity that he would commit what we call an infraction, a violation of the code of conduct, so that she could suspend him. So one day she noticed that he was walking in the hallway outside the office in uniform, except that he did not have his socks on. So she saw her opportunity, brought him into the office, sat him down in the office, and said, "Well, this is it. It's the last infraction. We've given you so many chances. Now you're getting suspended because of accumulation of all these infractions because you are uniform." So he responded, "Miss, why am I out of uniform?" And she says, "Well, it's obvious you don't have socks." And he turned around and said to her, "But I'm in uniform." And she responded, "No, you're not. You don't have you're wearing socks." So he pulled out his agenda and says, "Where does it say I have to wear socks?" So he found a passage about uniforms, and it said socks should be worn. He made her read it. And then as soon as she read socks may be worn, he responded, or should be worn. He said, should does not mean must. Should means it's a suggestion, and I'm choosing not to wear socks today. And therefore, I'm not breaking the code of conduct. At which point, the principal, whose mouth was dropped down to her feet, had nothing more to say. And so he stood up and says, "Thank you, have a nice day," and he left. So you have to be very careful that when you do make these laws, that you're quite explicit, which means you write down exactly what you intend and everyone can follow it and understand it. Okay, so this is what we call legal justice. So why do people obey the laws of society? This is a crosswalk. Well, first and foremost, it brings safety to you. So you have to look both ways, and you can't trust that people in automobiles or even bicycles for that matter will stop at the stop sign. They may not see you, they may not be paying attention, or they may be under the influence of drugs or alcohol. So you follow the rules, and you talk when you're small, that you look both ways, make sure it's safe, and then cross only when you think it's safe. So laws protect us. They tell us what is expected of each other and caution people about breaking because they're going to know what the consequences are. We talked about this when we looked at St. Thomas Aquinas and the cell phones. So we have all an opportunity to contribute to the life of society by following laws. So I thought the best way to show you this is a poster from MAD that says, "Choose your ride. Consider the options before you drink and drive. If you don't have a sober, licensed, designated driver, don't take a chance, take a taxi." So there are different options for you. If you decide to drink and drive, and we saw this with the Mutsu case, you can get home with one of these vehicles. You might crash and you'll need a tow truck. You may die, or somebody else may die, and you may need a hearse. You can take a taxi, and that'll get you home. I'm assuming that the next one is it's a police car, but I wish they had another one here. A car, get a friend to drive you, or a designated driver. Or the police may take you to the jail, or may take you to the hospital, an ambulance. So you have an opportunity to contribute to safe neighborhoods by not drinking and driving at the same time and not getting high and driving at the same time. So the whole point here is it gives you the options. So which vehicle do you want to get home to if possible? And so out the community. Okay. So this is going to be John F. Kennedy. He talks about contributed justice. So this is going to be your journal for today. And in this speech he gave when he became president of the United States, there was a line that epitomizes what contributed justice is. And he said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." This is contributed justice. How are you going to make your country, your nation, your neighborhood, your community better. It's not always waiting for others to do things for you. What contribution are you going to make? How are you going to make life better? How are you going to make life more loving and more just in society? So let's see if we can get this going. So hopefully this will work.
Yes. Yeah, so it was audio sending. Yes, and if you go to system memo 7, I think it's called something like video. Yeah, a link and the password and yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, bye.
Okay, give me a second while I ask Ms. Buckley again. Hi, Ms. Buckley,
Oh, yeah, that.
I want to show a video.
Oh, okay, I'm not back again, I'll be right back. In the meantime, you can start adding text boxes to one of your pages.
So that's the video.
Yes.
What did you click on to get the sound?
Okay, so we're just going to, here, we're going to stop presenting,
Okay.
and then we're going to present now, and the Chrome tab, that's the one that has sound. And so then we just choose.
In the long history of the world,
Okay.
That's what they see.
only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man. Finally, whether you are citizens of America or citizens of the world, ask of us here the same high standards of strength and sacrifice which we ask of you. With a good conscience, our only sure reward, with history the final judge of our deeds, let us go forth to lead the land we love, asking his blessing and his help, but knowing that here on earth, God's work must truly be our own.
Are saved in the special ICP folder in your Google Drive. So if you want to upload an image from your cell phone or from some
Okay. So you're getting some information from other teachers here in the library. So this is going to be your journal. I'd like you to write a journal and ask the same questions of yourself. Ask not what, say, Rob's, Ontario, Canada, or the world can do for you. Instead, ask yourself, what can you do for Ontario, Canada, your community, your neighborhood, St. Rob's, the world. So as you're approaching your grade 12 graduation and about 8 months from now, you're going to be thinking about what are you going to do in university or college or in the workforce. And there's always going to be a tendency of thinking of making money, money, money. Instead, find a job that's going to be very rewarding. Find a career that's going to be very enjoyable, where you can make a difference in the world. And what contribution are you going to make to the world? Not the whole world, but the world that will be part of your circle of influence. Okay? So let's go back to finish off the presentation.
So now, you see if there were the quick device. I'd like you to type something in there.
That's a nice wide angle speech. 3 years after this, in Houston, President Kennedy was assassinated. Had a very sad situation, tragedy, and all kinds of conspiracy issues came out of this as to whether or not things were hidden from the public and what happened. If you're curious, go ahead and look up all the conspiracy theories. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Okay, we go to distributive justice now. Distributive justice is concerned with the responsibility that society has to its members. It is called distributive because it calls for the just distribution of Earth's resources to all people. So here we have a picture of a senior citizen who has spent a lifetime contributing to society. They were our trailblazers. They provided their effort, their work, their beliefs, and sometimes when it comes to approaching Remembrance Day, their lives to give us our freedoms and enjoy the life we have. So as they've gotten older, what justice should we provide for them? How can we distribute our strengths, we call our goods, our wealth, to make life for them better as they go into the twilight of their lives? Especially in this COVID pandemic we're in, these were the forgotten people. These were the most vulnerable people. We owe them more care, a duty of care. We owe them more justice. This is what we mean by distributive justice. We as a whole, as a community, should have been able to distribute our abilities, our talents, our good, our wealth, etc., for those individuals who are the most vulnerable, the seniors. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of things that distributive justice consists of. The first and foremost from your homework assignment is citizenship. So society grants you citizenship, and it's an honor to become a citizen of Canada, whether you are born into citizenship like myself or you chose citizenship from another country like my parents. Okay, but once you're a citizen, and even if you're a permanent resident or non immigrant or a visa student, you still have certain rights as being here in Canada. So first and foremost, we have over here on the left top is our citizenship certificate. Okay? And then with that comes our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. That citizen will give you certain protections, and we spent some time looking at the Human Rights Declarations of the United Nations. And if you ever take law, you'll learn about our Canadian rights and freedoms. And in the middle, you'll see a whole bunch of different sections. And over here on the right, examples of rights and freedoms. Some rights and freedoms include freedom of speech and expression, freedom of religion and conscience. Freedom of assembly means that you can associate and get together with anybody you want. And the right to equal protection before the law. So there's a bit of Fred Flintstone cartoon there. Okay. So first and foremost, society as a whole should distribute to each and every one of us the justice that's involved in citizenship. Second thing that society as a whole should give us is security and public assistance. So I have a whole bunch of pictures or images, and I'll try to go through them all with you. So as a society, we have decided in Canada that we're going to pool our resources called taxes and revenue that the government gets. And whether it be at the local level, excuse me, provincial level, or federal level. As a society, we're going to take this tax revenue that we collect together, and we're going to use this tax revenue for security reasons and for public assistance to help every individual, to make life for each individual safer and weller or better. Okay. First and foremost, on the top left-hand picture is health, medicine. So we're going to spend some money. This is a big chunk of our government budgets, is healthcare. Now, we in Canada, unlike other countries, especially looking south of us to the United States, believe in universal healthcare. So, as a citizen of Canada and or land immigrant or permanent residents, if you get sick, we have decided that as a society, we're going to take care of you when you're the most vulnerable, when you're not healthy. So we all have OHIP cards. And if you want extra care, you can always buy private health insurance. So as a society, we're going to take a lot of money because we as a society have said that health is so important. You can't enjoy any of the human rights unless you're healthy. And when you are in the most vulnerable and need, when you are sick, we're going to take care of you without you having to worry about where you're going to pay for it. So we have universal health card that will cover your health needs. Now, it doesn't cover everything, but the basics is covered. So if you break an ankle or you sprain an ankle or you go to the hospital, you won't be charged for the care, the x-rays, etc. Now, they may charge you for the crutches, but they won't cover, they won't charge you for the care that you're given in the hospital. So we feel that this is very fundamental to the kind of society we have. In the United States, a lot of people don't have health care, and that's one of the big battles in the election again. And it boggles my mind that a country as rich as the United States doesn't have universal health care. If there's a fire, then we're going to spend some money on providing firefighters to put out fires. This is why we go through our fire drills, that we're prepared in case of a fire. And we know that if we pull that alarm, the fire department will show up at school or at our home, or perhaps on the road if there's a fire on the road, or someone's in an accident. So we, as a society, say that one of the goods that have to be distributed to us by society, because it's a matter of justice, is the security and the protection that firefighters provide for us. Third one is police force. In order to make our societies as safe as possible, society has decided we're going to need a police force to deter anybody from committing crimes and also to investigate and solve crimes when they are committed. So as a society, we have decided that for security and to help the public, we're going to fund a police force. Now, the fourth picture is pictures of the Supreme Court of Canada. So that's the epitome of the court system. So we decided that as a society that we're going to fund a judicial system from small claims courts all the way up to Supreme Court of Canada and Supreme Court of the provinces and all different types of courts for different sections of law. Okay. As a society, we believe that if there's a question of community justice between people or legal justice between an individual and society, that we're going to have a judicial system of courts where the rule of law will decide who's right and who's wrong and what kind of consequences there are, and the rule of law is going to be based on reason, not emotions. So you're not going to take it out and settle it fist to fist. You're going to rationally explain what happened in a court of law, and then there'll be a rational decision by a person appointed as a judge or a justice to make the decision on behalf of society. And if they get it wrong, we'll have a system of appeals to higher courts in case there's going to be human fallibility, and they're going to review people's decisions. Okay? And the highest court is going to be Supreme Court of Canada. At the bottom left is another thing that we spend a lot of money on, and that's education. We as a society not only think that you should be healthy and protected, but you should have the opportunity to an education. That the greatest gift that society can give its citizens, besides health and safety, is an opportunity to learn. And this is why up until high school, education is free. And then once you leave high school, it may cost you, but there'll be grants and loans to provide you assistance that's not going to hinder your opportunity for higher education. It's just a matter of working for it and studying hard. So education is another big part of our budgets of governments. So health is one, and education second. And without a healthy and educated population, we're going to have a lot more problems in society. So we as a society have decided that we're going to provide free education up to grade 12 and then assisted education after that as well, because education and learning is so crucial to society. Then we're going to have all kinds of ideas where we're going to work together and be together. Organizations, not only in terms of school, health, etc., but we're going to find other things like help with food banks to help other people, help with different causes for diseases. If this were different times, we'd all be walking for Terry Fox to help with raise money to help those who are afflicted by cancer, or the inside-outside right for the families of those who have cancer. Make-A-Wish Foundation. So all kinds of supporters, community organizations that are there, children's aid societies that help children that are in vulnerable situations in homes, etc. And so that brings us to the next one, support groups, that there are going to be people who are going to be more vulnerable and left out, and we're going to have different organizations that will be there for them. The last picture is very relevant today. We're going to have a problem with people who lose their jobs. And under this COVID pandemic, a lot of people have lost their jobs. And so we have government funding, unemployment or CERB or EI to help you until you get yourself back on your feet. I remember my dad was once unemployed for about a week, and it was the worst experience he ever had. I can imagine what everybody's going through. His whole dignity as a human being, as a father, was gone because he could no longer provide. After a week, he got employment again. But that 1 week where he was unemployed almost destroyed his dignity as a human being. You're all going to go through this as you graduate from high school, university. You're going to be looking for a job in your career. And you may have to wait because there may not be as many jobs. So you might have to find different jobs, different fields. But as a society, if you do lose your job, we have decided that we're going to help you until you can put yourself back on your feet. So these are what we call security and public assistance goods that we like to distribute as society to the people. Goods of distributed justice, economic goods. So we have different laws, stipulations, statutes that protect society in their economic transactions. So we have all kinds of policies, guidelines, practice, standards, rules, regulations, compliance. We have all kinds of laws when it applies to all kinds of goods in society. You got to make sure that when people make things and sell things, that they're healthy for you. They don't have any toxic substances. That they're in fact exactly as they are advertised. That they're not going to fall apart or cause serious damage and hurt to people because of poor workmanship or poor quality, etc. We have laws and rules that govern how we have economic transactions between people and different employment standards, etc. We have laws and rules about who can buy, who can rent, and how to use your houses as Airbnb or a hotel or as slumlords. So we have certain laws. We have rules and laws that control how the stock market is operated, so we don't have people being ripped off or being cheated or stolen. One of the things that's really prevalent today is Bitcoin, and it's uncontrolled. There's no regulations, and you may make a fortune, you may be wiped out. We have all kinds of rules about the banks and how they operate and how they collect revenue, how they collect certain transaction fees that they get, how they operate with mortgages, making sure that these banks have a lot in reserve so that if there's an economic crash that has happened a few years ago, that they can withstand that and be okay, so we don't crash the economy. So the next one, sorry, it's getting a bit long, but is as a society, we decided to be responsible in how we treat people's offices and positions. What that means is that and you're going to experience this when you graduate, if you're not already experiencing it now as you look for jobs or positions or positions in universities or colleges, is that any offer should be resolved by meritocracy. So if you're applying to a university of your choice or you're applying for a job of your choice, that the best person, the person who merits it, gets the position.
Hey, Mr.
Hi,
Carter,
hi.
is everyone present in your
Oh,
class?
did I not check that? Yeah, they're all present.
They're all present, I'll let you know.
Yeah, sorry. I thought give me a second. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'll do that right. I thought I clicked it.
It says they're all present.
I just clicked it. Sorry about that. I forgot to click on done for attendance. Okay, so when you apply for a job or you apply for a position in university, you hope and pray that it's based on merit. Merit means that you have earned it by your hard work, that someone has not shortchanged you because of privilege or wealth or family connections. We call that nepotism. So apply now, we're hiring, or apply now, we're accepting applicants to university, especially for grade 12 students. You guys are really worried about your applications. So who's hiring? You see at the bottom picture, people put their hands up and you hope and pray that it's based on merit. And and you also hope and pray that it will respect the differences of people's opportunity to apply for the jobs. So that you're not going to be discriminated against in applying for the job. So the government has certain standards, human rights acts, civil acts, statutory acts that protect people, making sure that when they apply for jobs, it is based on merit. And you're going to find that people are very, very sneaky sometimes and are very, very shrewd. And the meritocracy is not followed. Instead, it's that type of nepotism. It's not what you know that you're going to be facing. It's who you know. And there's going to be often a lot of corruption. And unfortunately, it's not supposed to be that way. But the reality is that it is a law. So just be careful. Make sure that you have an opportunity. This is why your applications are so important. This is why evidence on your application, your work experience, your volunteer experience, your profile are so important. So they can see the whole person, and hopefully, in every situation you find yourself, it'll be based on merit. The best person for the position, most qualified, most experienced, etc. So, summarize. This first chart again, the social whole representing all of us as a community, as a society. A, the individual person, let's call that you, and B, the other or your neighbor. And your relationship with the other is called community justice, and your relationship with the whole is called legal justice, and your relationship with the society's relationship with you is called distributive justice. So just a few examples just to summarize this. I can have a debt to another. For example, I can owe him or her $5. To satisfy that debt by paying him or her back is an act of community justice. So if you owe someone, it's only just and right or righteous that you pay it back. That's community justice. Legal justice. To begin to repay that debt is a matter of legal justice. This means living not just for oneself, but for the common good. The criminal couldn't care less about the common good, but is concerned solely with his own private good. We all have a debt to the civil community as a whole, for we are the beneficiaries of the labor of countless others who have gone before us. We benefit from common goods such as public hospitals, public schools, public libraries, community centers, community sports programs, etc. We have a debt to pay the social whole, one that we cannot fully repay. So by repaying your $5 to the person, not only are you showing community justice, but you're following the laws and rules of the land, legal justice. Because if you don't repay the $5, technically that is a form of stealing. You may have a contract you may have signed, in which case there's a tort law violation. And you may be taken to court, and society as a whole expects you to honor your contracts and your agreements. So by repaying the $5, you're showing legal justice. As a society, we have decided that stealing is not something that people should be doing. Distributive justice. The social whole, however, has due to the individual persons to make up society. Individual persons pay their share of taxes, legal justice, but the social whole has a duty to provide common goods from those taxes, such as safe roads, just laws, public institutions, hospitals, education institutions, fair wages, good working conditions, laws that protect the weaker members, etc. Okay. So there we go. Okay. So let's take some questions on the PowerPoint presentation. Anything else? And I apologize for all the technical difficulties so far. Okay, a lot of people just can't hear, but it's switched from my phone to the laptop, no problem. Hopefully you can hear this. So Nathan Chan. So does contributive justice fall under legal justice? Yes. Legal justice is each individual respecting the laws and the rules that society has decided. And we provide consequences or potential consequences deter us. So a lot of people think that legal justice simply just do whatever society says. But that's sort of like resting behind. So contributive justice is part of legal justice. It's not just obeying the laws, but contributing to a better society, contributing to the making of the laws, contributing to the betterment of every member of society. So contributive justice is part of legal justice, where the onus is placed on the individual to do something positive, that's good, just for society as a whole. How can you make society better? Mr. Savidio will say to you that where uniform, following all the rules and the code of conduct, you're contributing to a healthy environment, a safe environment at St. Rob's. But there's more to it than simply following all the rules. There's also a duty for you to contribute for a better society. So get involved in clubs. Oh, we used to get involved in clubs. Work with the vulnerable kids, best buddies, more outreach. Work with those who want to make the world better in social justice. Work with those who can learn about business, so get involved in DECA. Even join a club that they used to play chess every Wednesday here. You're making society better. You're creating a community, a pleasant experience. You're joining an athletic team to represent the school, but also to create pride and physical fitness. So all kinds of join the art club and create beautiful murals to make the environment better. Join the environment club, make the grounds and city routes better. So it's not just come in, do your thing, and follow all the rules, but also make the life of the school, just like make the life of the community better, and that's contributed justice. So Nathan, I hope that answers your question about contributed justice. And so what John F. Kennedy is saying in his inaugural speech is, I as the president and we as the government of the United States, we're here to distribute all those goods that we talked about. But you got to do something too. You got to make life better for your neighbors, for your community. So what is it you're going to do? You can think of legal justice sort of like the negative version of the golden rule. Do not do to others what you do not want done to you. Contributed justice is a positive version of that maxim. Love your neighbor as yourself. Now, how do you love? Show respect, mercy, justice, humility towards others. So how you do that depends on who you are, depends on your gifts and talents. Each of us will be able to contribute in our own way based on our own talents or gifts, based on our own opportunities before us and the experiences we've had. So contributed justice puts the onus on you to figure out for yourself who you are and what you can do to make better. And we're all not going to be like Mother Teresa and dedicate our lives. I'm a marvelous lady, but we don't all have Mother Teresa within us. But we can do our little bit, our little acts of love, our little acts of justice with the people that we meet. Okay? Patrick, we'll hold on to feeding right assignment. Okay, hold on. Louisa, so today, journal, we need to write about different types of justice. No, Louisa, just contribute justice based on John F. Kennedy's speech. Okay, so let me type that in. So the journal is just on contributive justice. Contributive. Okay, so the journal, sorry, big U there. So all I want you to worry about is this is what John F. Kennedy challenged Americans. He's basically saying, as president and as the government, we're going to do our best to distribute all of the goods that we can according to distributed justice. But we're going to call upon you to not only follow the laws of the country, but also make the country better. So what is your contribution? What my mom used to always say is, what's your 2 cents worth going to be? What your little bit is going to do is contribute for the whole good. Okay, that's your journal. Okay? You're welcome. Okay, right now it's 1:55. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take a 5-minute break.
Wait, sir, I'm sorry. Could you please repeat what the journal is on? Because my Wi-Fi cut out for a bit.
Oh, no problem. I was saying that in this PowerPoint slide, I gave you a speech that John F. Kennedy gave when he became president in 1960. Okay, he was assassinated in 1963. In his speech, he talks about contributive justice. And in our homework, we have a little bit of a definition of contributive justice. Basically, what are you going to contribute to the good of society? So in your journal, I want you to think about that. And you can make it personal. How are you going to make life better for everyone around you? That's what contributive justice is. It's not simply following the rules, but making life better for everyone. And that's simply showing love, showing mercy, showing forgiveness, showing welcome. It's similar to what we call core works of mercy. Help those around you, and not just homeless people on the street or people in disaster areas like there's a fire, helping them out, but help those of your classmates, your friends, your people in the neighborhood who need help. Do your part. So that's what contributive justice means.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Okay, Patrick. The freedom riders we'll talk about in a second. Once, just before we talk about see the movie, then we'll talk about it. Okay, Patrick. So just hold on to that for a sec. So let's take a few minutes off here. It gives me a chance to get everything going here, and then we'll talk about freedom rider assignment. So what I want you to do for homework today is your journal. I believe that's all I signed. Yeah, because we're going to start watching the movie today and part tomorrow. Okay, so take a 5-minute break. It gives me a chance to set up for the movie. I'm going to stream it. I gave you the website from I think it's 360 and the code to access it. So let's see if I can get that going.
The reason I say that is because some people said that they now have the ability to blur their screen, but I don't have that option. So it may be that I don't have a legacy access. It could go away tonight, which would be unfortunate. But yeah, so the YouTube live streaming, I guess, will be our backup option, but I wish that they had given us more notice.
Yeah.